Well, the highly anticipated weight numbers are finally in, and it's not looking too good. That's right, the 2020 GT500 has gone full on dad bod, tipping the scales at 4,225 pounds for the base car. Yikes. What's up, guys? I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and in this episode of Mustang News, we're going to be breaking down the weight of the new, yet-to-be-released Shelby, of course, along with some of the other interesting things happening in the world of Mustang. So, what do you say we get right into it? Now, just yesterday, the final piece of the GT500 puzzle was revealed, and of course, in true fashion, it's got the internet clutching their collective pearls. But are we really all that surprised about this number? Well, what do you say we take a closer look at it again? 4225 is what Ford is claiming for their base car. Now, for reference sake here, gang, that's almost 600 pounds more than a GT350's base or curb weight of 3,600 pounds and change, about 400 pounds more than my 2019 GT Premium car, and almost 700 pounds heavier than the new C8 Corvette's estimated curb weight. However, if there is a silver lining here, it's that the GT500 is still a couple hundred pounds lighter than a standard Hellcat. But, and this is a rather big but, pun intended, and that is the fact that the Shelby now weighs essentially the same as a Dodge Demon, which comes in at roughly 4,280. Now, one, of course, could assume that the track pack and the carbon fiber equipped GT500 is going to weigh a little bit less thanks to all those baller carbon fiber components such as the wheels, but even that car, realistically, guys, is still going to exceed 4,000 pounds. Now, the reality is here, guys, none of this really should come as much of a surprise, right? I mean, factor in all of that extra hardware, such as your blower and all of its components, those massive Brembo brakes, the DCT trans, which alone weighs over 220 pounds, and you have a good chunk of weight on top of an already husky pony car. Now, I think if anything here, the community was kind of holding on to or grasping at the fact that there might be some magic wand out there that would suspend basic physics and somehow, some way make this car weigh in the mid to high 3,000 pound range, which we all know now is just simply impossible and unrealistic. But that's not to say this car won't be an incredible performer. In fact, case in point, just before Ford dropped the weight news of the Shelby, they also dropped the bombshell that the GT500 would go 0 to 100 miles an hour, back to 0 again in 10.6 seconds, which is a rather astonishing feat and puts the Shelby in supercar territory, beating out cars like the McLaren F1 LM, Porsche Carrera GT, Pagani Zonda, Dodge Viper ACR, and finally the Camaro Z01, which all, by the way, weigh substantially less than the 2020 GT500. So yes, while weight is a very important figure to consider or pay attention to, it's not the end-all be-all measurement of performance. And for the record, punching those weight and horsepower figures of the 2020 GT500 into a quarter-mile ET and speed calculator puts this car right at a 1080 at 132 miles an hour, which is pretty much on par with what we heard at the reveal back in January. Either way, guys, we really want to hear what your thoughts are on the weight here with the new Shelby. Are you disappointed, or are you still all in, dad bod or not? Let us know below. Now, along with the weight, Ford also dropped their 86-page e-source book on the 2020 GT500, which is put together by the Blue Oval for training purposes on the new car and basically covers every interesting little tidbit or detail you want to know about the Shelby, and it's really cool. In fact, we'll drop a link in the description if you guys want to check it out, kill some time. Big shout out to Jarstang and the crew at Mustang6G.com for throwing this up. Now, in it, we learn a little bit more about things like the engine, for instance, like the fact that the engine has a massive 11-quart oil capacity and is actually receiving an aluminum oil pan, unlike the standard GT or GT350s that utilize that composite piece. We also learned a little bit more about the unique exhaust, featuring the 2 3/4 inch diameter tubing, included X-pipe, all which help deliver its very unique tone. And along with that, we get a better sense of things like spring rates, for instance, which include a 251-pound front spring and a 914-pound rear spring, which, by the way, are very firm when compared to the stock and aftermarket springs for the S550. Now this is just the tip of the iceberg here, guys, and again, I encourage you to check out the rest of the PDF if you want to kill some time and learn a little bit more about the car. Not to be left out, the GT350 is also getting a few minor tweaks for 2020, including some suspension from the big brother GT500. Now this does include the high trail steering knuckle, which should help combat some of the tram lining persistent with these cars, along with the new steering rack and power steering calibration. The 5.2 block also saw some tweaks here to make it suitable for use in not only the GT350, but also the GT500 and Cobra Jet. And to aid in easing production and budget cost, all three of these cars will now share the same 5.2 block, but with slightly different internals, as obviously the crankshaft will be different in the flat plane 350, still very much unique to that car. Finally, a few new colors do make their way to the Shelby, including iconic silver, which, by the way, is the very first time the high-revving 350 does receive a silver paint job since being reintroduced back in 2015. Last but not least, we all know Christmas will be here before we know it. Yes, I know, I just said it. But if you're looking for a special gift for that special Mustang fan in your life, boy, do we have a present here for you. This January, the original Bullitt Mustang will be rolling across the auction block at the Mecum auction down in Florida. Now, if you remember, guys, Ford actually linked up with the current owner to help reveal the 2019 Bullitt Mustang, showing the cars off side by side at the 2018 Detroit Auto Show. I was there, it was awesome. I also got to meet the lovely Molly McQueen. Now, no word yet on what this car might actually fetch, but if I'm a guessing man or a betting man, something with $1 million or maybe even millions might be a possibility. But what do you guys think? Drop us a comment below. Well, gang, that is gonna wrap up this installment of Mustang News. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you really dig our content here at AM, I would certainly appreciate it. And remember, for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.